What's up, guys? This is Ty Zen. We're on a research mission here in New York City, in the middle of Times Square, in the headquarters of a company called YouNow.com. With me today, we have a huge lineup of guests here. We have the Honorable Grandmaster, legendary, world-renowned LeonFu.com. Say hello, Leon.
Hi, guys.
All right. The great oracle of crypto, guys. Right. With us also is Kirk Ballou. Say hello, Kirk.
Hey, guys.
All right. So Kirk is the CEO and the founder of a app and software agency in the city of Dallas called Touch Titans. He's here to help us research the props project here. All right. So we also have the platform lead in charge of developing the props project platform. And this is Peter. Say hello, Peter.
Hey, guys.
All right. And then with him is Olivier.
Yes, Olivier. Hi, guys.
All right. And he's in charge of the user interface and the user experience on the platform. Okay. So let's get right to it. Why we have these guys here. Before we get into the props project, Peter, can you talk a little bit about your background? Because in our channel, we have lots of investors and traders that are looking at this project. And, you know, from our research perspective, right, we always like to invest in people first, before the tech. So let's talk a little bit about your background, you know, what you do, how you got into coding, developing, and things like that, and then how you got into crypto.
Sure. So I started in Australia.
Okay.
I was very kind of into the music scene and taught myself to code kind of based on that, where I was playing in bands, working with bands, and so I started building websites to help them print posters and book venues, all that sort of stuff, and started building music apps. And then I founded a company called Swarm FM and moved to the US and raised some money to do that, and did that for about 2 years.
And how old were you during that time?
I was like 23 or so.
Okay.
And so, yeah, moved to the US, did that for a couple of years. Didn't work out, but it's, you know, still out there. Had a lot of fun doing that. And so I was doing more development, and then got connected to these guys to help with some of the website stuff. So started in the development, and 3 years later, I'm still here at YouNow, and I've shifted more into some of the product management and kind of leading some of the projects that we're on, especially kind of the more research and kind of newer stuff that we're working on. And so, yeah, about a year ago, we started thinking, you know, we have this economy where people are buying virtual goods and we're paying out creators, and we started to see like a lot of the alignments with what's going on with crypto and tokens, and how it allows you to kind of align between the developers of a system and the people creating the content. And so we started really digging into kind of how that can work for our community. And I've sort of been deeply involved in that in terms of writing the white paper, trying to figure out how we can design the right incentives for everyone in the system, and then helping to actually kind of lead the building of it.
So when did you first hear about Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies?
I heard about it, you know, quite a while ago, and I think everyone has their story of when they heard about it, and to be honest, I dismissed it, you know? I'm not gonna lie, you know? I think you guys kind of, you had more foresight. I mean, I was there early. Yeah. I wrote it off, you know, and I think like a lot of people, I found it kind of interesting technology, but wasn't kind of sure where it would end up. I even remember the Ethereum crowd sale and thinking this is nonsense. But you know, clearly I was wrong there.
Because you're using the network now.
Exactly. You know, and I think we're really starting to see it. You know, hit that point where it's kind of getting the usage, and I think on the other side, we're starting to see kind of the need for it emerge in terms of what's going on, and you know, whether it's censorship or some of these platforms that are really large, or you know, what's going on, you know, with governments and banking. It's just like starting to get to that point where, and the technology is also getting to a point where it's, you know, the kind of robustness of it is starting to prove itself.
Now, something that you mentioned to myself and my other colleague David when we first met you a few weeks ago, right? And we talked about the props project here. You mentioned that in your spare time, you love to go and compete at the hackathons. Right. Now, first of all, explain to the audience what is a hackathon so that people know.
Sure. So like,
'Cause I think this is very important here to know for the audience to know about you.
yeah. So a hackathon is essentially where you usually goes overnight, and you got a bunch of people, and like from scratch they build something in like 24 hours, 48 hours. You know, barely any sleep. And sometimes there's a direction that you want to go, sometimes there isn't. And yeah, I think it's like, you know, a really fun challenge to try and build something from scratch in such a short amount of time. It's usually a good experience to you know, meet interesting people. And so this was kind of how I actually got involved in the development community. There was actually, when I first came to New York, a hackathon that Spotify put on with a $10,000 prize, which I won. And so
congratulations!
Thank you.
Nice. Yeah.
And there was like literally like a novelty-sized check for $10,000.
So did you get the picture with the big?
picture?
I did, and then I took it home on the subway, and like everyone's looking at me really strange because I'm just holding
a
this
$10,000
novelty-sized
check.
check.
And they probably thought it was fake, but it's real.
Yeah, they were pulling out their phones and trying to scan it to claim it. But no, I think so. That's actually how I bootstrapped the company that I founded, was just off these kind of hackathon winnings, and got that started. And so, you know.
But you must have gotten a ton of job offers with these hackathons. I mean, did you, or you always set on like doing your own startup, or eventually, what did you think of?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm, you know, lean towards, you know, I think for me, development is almost like a means to an end. Like, I don't see myself as a full-time, you know, developer for the sake of development. I'm much more interested in the idea and what can be created with it, but it just really helps to be able to develop yourself, so when you have an idea, you can crank it out.
Yeah.
And so
now, Kirk, you've also been to a ton of hackathons. So explain to the audience about the nature of hackathons, how competitive it is, and everything, so that the audience will know, because this is important here.
It's super competitive. If you go to California to like TechCrunch Disrupt, which is like the big hackathon of the year, there's guys from Google that do this in their spare time, that they'll travel and do hackathons because they get a kick out of like going and just doing this for 24 hours. It's almost like a social club, right? Where you're getting to go and collaborate with other guys with great ideas and build something, right?
So is it safe to say, like, in the world of like, they have different worlds, right? Like, for example, in like remote control race cars, they have conferences to go and compete in that. In sports, they have, you know, like you go and compete in basketball or football or things like that. So are you saying that these hackathons are like competitions of like the top coders that come together?
Yeah, it's the top developers, or it's the top product that emerges from that 24-hour period. And a lot of them are focused, like he said, he's interested in music. So like, if you're interested in music and coding, Spotify is a great hackathon to be at, right?
So now, is it easy for people to win? I mean, like, he walked away with a big old check. Like, is that?
No. I mean, these are competitive. Like, you go to.
So you have to be good to be able to win those things.
Like, if you look up TechCrunch Disrupt, and there's like thousands of developers in the crowd. So if you went out of there, you're like what he said with Spotify. There had to be. So
that's not like
it's not a small one.
That's not a small competition. That's huge.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So what other hackathons? You just went to one just a few days ago, or just the Waterloo one?
Yeah, it's called.
So talk about that one.
ETH Waterloo. It was the world's largest Ethereum hackathon.
Yeah.
So I think they had like a couple of thousand people apply, and then it was 300 people were invited up to Waterloo in Canada. So took a flight there. It was like an amazing group of people. So you had 300 hackers, but then you also had these sort of great talks the whole time. So you had Vitalik, Joseph Poon, like a lot of, you know, the Consensus guys were there, Joe Lubin, you know, it was like everyone was there. It was almost a distraction. Like, you're trying to like build a project, and meanwhile, like, the best people in the community are giving talks, and you're like, well, I kind of want to go.
So you went there to compete in there?
So I went there to compete, but ended up getting pretty distracted. So I played around with some things, like 0x were there.
Yeah.
So I kind of hacked a little bit on their APIs, but didn't end up submitting anything because I was so busy kind of talking to people and getting to know like people in the community.
So now Leon and I, we met a young kid like you, right? And I say kid because we're all like in our mid-40s and stuff, right? Named Vitalik Buterin.
Oh yeah.
At a conference back in 2014. We talked to him just like we're talking to you right now, and you can go to our channel and see the videos of us interviewing him.
Tell what you said to him.
Right? when I first gave advice, I said, "You ain't gonna run off with my money, or I'm gonna find you and punch you in the stomach." You know, I can't. And he later on, he goes, "Man, I can't believe you told a 19-year-old teenager that you're gonna punch him in the stomach." And he runs off with your money. But that project turned out to be a huge winner for us. Are you gonna be the next Vitalik? Or are you? Are you gonna be like? I mean, you fit the profile and everything. You know, that's why we're here, right? It really, you know. So
No comment.
no comment. Okay, so let's talk about you, Olivier, right? And you know, talk about a little bit about your background and what got you into, you know, where you came from, what got you into user experience design, user interface design.
I studied in Paris. A long time ago in 2010, founded a company called Supermarmite, which was a social marketplace for homemade food, and that quite cool. I ran that for 2 years, and then I started to do design for other companies and do hackathons. So this is my other common element with this guy.
So
we're both the foreign hackers. I think we're all on the same visa, which is the O1, the Alien of Extraordinary Ability, they call it.
Aliens
with extraordinary abilities.
You should look it up.
Right?
It's like,
That almost sounds like a movie.
It's like
Sounds like Elon.
It's offensive, but it's also a compliment. It's like, it's like getting called an alien.
I think that when Vitalik came to the U.S., he might have come under that aliens with extraordinary abilities, man. You know, so we are looking for that next Vitalik, man.
Yes.
So if you guys are those guys, man, we are gonna look back, you know, several years from now and be very happy that we are sitting here talking to you guys. You know, so all right. So when did you first hear about Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies, and what got you interested into it?
So I heard it. I think maybe not the first time, but the time where a guy really get me interested in the thing was. So as I said, I come from Paris, and the guy, you know, the guy who founded Ledger,
They're from Paris.
They're from Paris too. So they were in my entrepreneurial network in Paris, and one of the guys, Thomas, told me, yeah, you should really buy some Bitcoins because we don't know what will happen, but if you don't, you will miss an opportunity. And at this time, I missed the opportunity.
Oh man! So I'll bet you guys are working your butt off to make up for these missed opportunities with the props project. Then
exactly.
These guys are all in, man.
I mean, once it clicks, you know, it's like a rabbit hole. So I think like the last 12 months, we've been, you know, reading white papers. Like we're just like so deep because. There's a lot of catching up to do.
So you finally took that red pill.
Exactly.
The red pill. Now your eyes are open and you can't sleep now.
We're, you know, very deep. I mean, like it's a mix. So we have the expertise in kind of like the product world and building these experiences for mainstream users. And now we're sort of merging that with the crypto space and trying to make sure we can do something that's accessible to people.
You know, on behalf of, you know, our audience and other investors, crypto investors, you know, we definitely want people that are on this full time and, you know, wide awake and sleep, wake, you know, and dream about crypto, you know, so that's good.